Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to the garden. So this year, one of the key kind of flowers that I am focusing on are my zinnias. I planted tons, probably 1,000 zinnia plants here in my tiny backyard, and we want to focus on growing the best zinnias possible for our cut flower garden, but also, for our pollinators and hummingbirds and everything else. So that means we want as many blooms as possible. When I first started my seeds, I did start these in trays. Of course, you can direct sow them. But one of the main things that you really need to do to get the most blooms possible for your zinnias is to pinch them or stop them. So basically the process of pinching any plant, or more specifically in our case, our annual flowers, is that we want to remove the growth tip early on in the season so that the plant will branch and produce more usable flower stems. Now, I've grown zinnias plenty of times, and you don't have to pinch them if you don't want to. Especially if you're like me and you live in a place that has a very long season, nice and warm and hot. If you don't pinch the zinnias, over time they will branch naturally because we are picking those cut flowers, or in some cases deadheading if you don't want to pick cut flowers. As we deadhead or pick the flowers, those plants will continue to branch over the course of the entire season. Usually for me here in my garden, with the arrival of fall, usually with fall comes powdery mildew and the decline of plants. But by that time, my zinnia plants are usually well over 6 feet tall, just because I have ideal conditions for their growth. If you live somewhere that maybe has a little bit of a cooler season or a shorter season, pinching early in the year, early in the growing season, can make sure that you really get the most out of your zinnias before the arrival of cold weather hits. When you pinch the zinnias really just is up to you. It depends on your garden and when you want to do it. Here in this video, you'll see that many of my zinnia plants are very short that I'm pinching. They're about 4 to 6 inches tall. As I've mentioned, I started these in a seed tray this year using the winter sowing method, and I was way behind in the garden. So as a result, these zinnia plants, they stayed in their trays way longer than I wanted them to. That means by the time I was able to transplant them into the ground, they were already starting to think about producing flowers, even though they were still small. For me, pinching was very important this year because I wanted to stop them from producing flowers early on before they had the chance to produce healthy green foliage. This is another reason that you might want to pinch your zinnias early. If they're starting to flower a little bit too soon and they're a little bit too short to be flowering, you can go ahead and give them a pinch, and then they will branch and make more green growth before they start thinking about producing flowers for you. A lot of people suggest that you can actually pinch the zinnia flowers when they are a lot taller, about 8 inches to 12 inches tall. Generally, this is a good rule of thumb. And if you want to pinch when they're taller, you can also take those cuttings and root them in water or in soil and increase the amount of zinnia plants that you actually have to use in the garden. I have a video on that. It's one of the first zinnia videos that I ever made, so the quality's not that great. But it's definitely worth checking out if it's something that you've never done before or something that you're interested in. The process of pinching these zinnias is extremely simple. All I'm going to do is go to my zinnia plant and I'm going to make one cut. If your plants are a little smaller like mine, I am just going to take the first set of leaves, and then I am going to make the cut right above the set of leaves below that. I hope that makes sense. Ideally, we want our pinching to remove any excess stem. We don't want just stems sticking up in the air for no reason. Not only does that not particularly look very attractive in the garden, but that extra stem can rot and cause issues with the plant, so we don't want that. Over the course of the next few weeks after we have pinched our zinnia flowers, these are going to start branching from each of those leaf nodes. And as a result, the stems from our new growth will both produce more flowers. Over time, as we begin picking the cut flowers, our plants will become bushier and bushier, and soon by the end of the season, we will have a beautiful, abundant, and floriferous bed of zinnias. So that's really about it for this video. I hope that it was helpful. If you're new here and you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to hit the little bell icon so you get notifications, all that stuff. It sounds silly, but it really does help kind of grow our little gardening community here. As always, feel free to leave a comment. Always love to hear from you guys, feedback. Have you grown this before? I always do try to answer those comments within about a week. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer just because I do get so busy with work, but I do really, really appreciate everyone who watches these videos so much. Be sure to share it with a friend. Just spread the word, I guess. If you'd like to support the channel, you can go ahead and check our links down in the description below. I am on Patreon. I always appreciate when people use Patreon. It really does help significantly, especially, in terms of editing and running the blog and whatnot. We do have blog posts for almost every video that you see here. There are probably more detailed blog posts and information on my website, which you can find down there. Also, we have a soap shop and wax melt shop, handmade soap. If you want to support us in that way, you can buy one of our handmade soaps, and I will be more than happy to send you a soap. There are soap subscription boxes where you can get a bar of soap every single month, or you can just order one time, try it out, see if you like it. Either way, I am so thankful. I hope that you are having such an incredible day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.